One of the best feelings when playing a Bethesda game is finding a unique weapon. I remember when I stumbled upon Evergreen Mills in Fallout 3. I cleared the raider-infested hideout to find the sleazy traitor Smiling Jack hiding in the back. This fella rubbed me the wrong way immediately and I blasted his head off. I then find the unique weapon, the terrible shotgun, and use it for the rest of the game. This is one of my favorite experiences in older Bethesda titles because it's really satisfying for your exploring to lead to useful loot, especially when it's one of the best weapons in the game. In games like Skyrim, unique weapons also have unique appearances, and this just makes the feeling of finding a unique weapon even more special. But as time progresses, Bethesda has moved to an RNG loot system. This is the only way to get the best weapons for games like Fallout 4 and Starfield. I hate RNG-based loot for weapons in Bethesda games. It's a tedious chore trying to get the modifier you want because you have to do tons of boring dungeons or save scumming. Before we dive in, I want to clarify, I know Oblivion and Skyrim have RNG loot that you get out of the dungeons, but there wasn't legendary weapon modifiers that you would need to chase to get the best weapons. Plus, the enchanted loot that you got from this RNG system was just okay, and you could always just enchant better gear yourself. Oblivion and Skyrim both had plenty of overpowered unique weapons that were way better than this RNG loot. Also, I want to say I'm aware that Fallout 4 and Starfield have a decent amount of unique weapons, but hardly any of these unique weapons are worth getting when you compare them to the legendary weapons you can get from the RNG loot system. A lot of these legendary weapons just feel soulless and they aren't as cool and as memorable as a lot of the unique weapons. I was first introduced to the legendary weapon system when playing Fallout 4, and it immediately rubbed me the wrong way. First, to even obtain a legendary weapon, you have to take down a legendary enemy, which in theory sounds cool because there could be random bosses in a dungeon that are harder to fight and drop the best loot. But this gimmick quickly gets old because the legendary enemies are bullet sponges and they have no interesting or unique fighting tactics. And on top of that, if you fail to kill them quick enough, they will mutate and gain all their health back. The legendary enemies are a boring slog and a huge waste of resources to kill. And once you kill a legendary enemy, 9 times out of 10, you aren't going to get the weapon you are looking for. And if you do get the weapon you're looking for, it's going to have trash modifiers on it. This farm to get the best weapons in the game is boring and not fun. The shooting galleries in Fallout 4 are boring enough just exploring. But if you're doing multiple dungeons or save scumming trying to get the perfect legendary weapon, it's a miserable experience and makes me not want to play the game because of the terrible grind. Some people would argue that the customization system that lets you put different attachments on your guns makes up for the shitty legendary system and lack of unique weapons, but I strongly disagree. It's cool customizing your guns, but I'd much rather have no customization if it meant more unique weapons. When you compare Fallout 4 to Fallout 3, I much prefer the experience of stumbling across a random NPC who has a unique weapon, or finding a unique weapon in a dungeon that has killer stats, or is just fun to use. This experience is way more immersive for an RPG anyway. A great example of this in Elder Scrolls games are the Daedric Shrines. These quests are always some of my favorite to do because they are mysterious and offer some of the best weapons in the game, and also some of the coolest looking. Every Elder Scrolls fan remembers the first time they got Wabbajack or Mehrunes Razor. These weapons look cool and are fun to use. Then we get the worst offender of RNG loot and the true death of unique weapons in Starfield. They cranked up the legendary weapon farm to 10 in this game. I'm aware that free lanes changed a lot of stuff, but I'm going to talk about how this game was for weapons pre and post free lanes update. Starfield has even less unique weapons than Fallout 4 did, and most of the weapons suck and aren't worth getting when compared to the legendary weapons. Starfield added a new weapon tier system with 4 tiers for guns, being basic, calibrated, refined, and advanced. And for melee weapons, there was basic, sharpened, honed, and quantum edged. Basically, the higher the tier level, the higher the damage your weapon would do. And to pick up these higher tiered weapons, you would need to be a certain level for the weapon to drop. And the stupidest thing about this scarce weapon tier system is until very recently with the free lanes update, the only way to get better weapon tiers was to find it off a random enemy or dungeon chest with good RNG. So more time wasting RNG bullshit to get the weapon you want. Bethesda also continued with the lame RNG legendary weapon drops in Starfield. They are a bit easier to come across because you can find them on weapon racks and chests throughout dungeons, as well as dropping from enemies in Starfield. But it's still a huge pain getting the weapon you want with the right legendary weapon modifiers, and you could be farming or save scumming for hours trying to get the right ones. With the free lanes update for Starfield, they added X-Tech to the game, which can be used to make the slog RNG a little easier. X-Tech can be used to upgrade your weapon tier, reroll legendary modifiers, and add a fourth weapon modifier, taking your weapon from legendary to exotic. They added 2 new weapon tiers to the game with superior and exceptional. One of the neat things about X-Tech is you can now upgrade your weapon tiers without trying to farm better weapons in the world. The downside is it's way too expensive, and you have to pay a hefty price to get the best weapons instead of just finding it. And if you thought upgrading your weapon tier was expensive, wait till we get to the legendary weapon rerolls. You can take any legendary weapon you have and make it exotic, adding a fourth weapon modifier using X-Tech and a crazy amount of money. But where things get really expensive is you can reroll your old legendary weapon effects, which is better than farming for random modifier drops, but can add up quickly if you don't get the roll you wanted. What's also stupid about this system is you have to reroll 5 times to unlock all the modifiers for that slot. So in theory, you just reroll a few times to get the desired effect, but this is still an RNG gamble, and you will likely have to reroll 5 times to unlock all the effects to get the modifier you want, which is an expensive pain in the ass, and then you still have to pay for it a 6th time to select the modifier. This is a better system than just hoping your perfect weapon drops, but it still has way too much RNG and costs a crazy amount of money. Just let me put the modifier I want on my weapon from the very beginning if I'm spending this much money. I really hate this direction Bethesda has chose to go with. They've put unique weapons on the back burner and prioritized the lame RNG legendary weapons. Getting a unique weapon was such a satisfying experience in older Bethesda games because it felt special and earned. You could also get some of the best weapons in the game in a timely manner by doing quests or exploring the correct place. But with this RNG system, it's made getting the best weapons a time-consuming chore that sucks the fun out of the game. None of these legendary weapons feel special or have any soul. I'm sure Bethesda loves this new system because it makes you have to grind and sink more hours into the game. They think this RNG-based loot adds replayability, but it's just a time sink. I don't think it's a coincidence that Fallout 4 and Starfield have some of the most boring quests and exploration. They have to make up for the lack of stuff to do with a gambling loot system that makes you interact with the lackluster worlds. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about unique weapons. And if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe.